Tottenham Hotspur will beat Frankfurt on Thursday night. That's my belief anyway. Now, the key part of what I've just said there is Thursday night. I am not saying for definite Tottenham will win over two legs, and I'm going to explain why. I feel like this is a very interesting matchup between two teams that, I would say that Spurs have dropped off a cliff, but to be fair, we've never been on that cliff this season. It's just been an utter shambolic season from day one. But Frankfurt have a very different story to tell. Now, Frankfurt aren't the greatest football team that you've ever seen, but they are currently sitting third in the Bundesliga. Now, we're going to have a look at some of this data in a minute, but more so, that was a lot to do with when they were flying high before the sale of Marmoush to Manchester City. And we'll have a look at that because since Marmoush has left, it's been a very up and down Frankfurt, a team capable of battering somebody, but also capable of losing games they shouldn't. Does that remind you of anybody? Yeah, it does, doesn't it? Sounds a lot like Tottenham Hotspur. But for me, I've said this all along. This isn't this week. Anybody that watches my shows knows that I've said this. I think both teams will win their respective home games. I think we will win on Thursday night at White Hart Lane. I think they will win a week later at their stadium. And then I think it's going to be who scores the most goals in their respective home leg. I know that sounds like such a cliche and an obvious thing to say, but for me, I doubt Spurs' ability to go to a big away ground in a big game without crumbling. And I'm going to use the Liverpool League Cup semi-final as a barometer of that. Yes, Liverpool are better than us. Yes, Liverpool have better players. Yes, we had injuries. But what happened to go into these grounds, digging in, being hard to beat, putting on a masterclass at the back, midfield tucking in? Nope. Spurs do what Spurs do. We went there. We were as wide open as a barn door. And in came Liverpool, moment after moment after moment. And then people said, oh, it's injuries. Maybe, just maybe. And I'm going to say this for the rest of my life under this manager. Maybe it's the tactics. However, Frankfurt aren't the greatest team on their travels. So let's have a look at why I think we will beat Frankfurt on Thursday night and why I think they beat us in their stadium. Okay, so if we actually have a look here, okay, so we know the first leg is going to be at White Hart Lane, and then the second leg is going to be at the Deutsche Bank Park. We know that, okay? That's how these legs always work, okay? Now, I think it's a real detriment to Tottenham that we're playing the second leg away because of the fact that we crumble, because of the fact that we're so wide open, and because of the fact that Eintracht Frankfurt is widely regarded as one of the most hostile grounds to go to in the German league. They are a very noisy bunch. They will make it volatile. They will G their players up. And more often than not, it really does help Frankfurt. So let's have a look, shall we? First of all, let's look at the two respective clubs in their league positions. Now, you can see here, Tottenham Hotspur currently sitting in 14th place in the Premier League. A real sad indictment of the utter dross season that we've had. We scored a hell of a lot of goals, but we've conceded a lot of goals as well. And we have only got 37 points from 31 games, which is, let's be honest, utterly diabolical. Yes, there are still fans backing him. I have no idea why. They clearly like losing games, so we'll let them still back this manager. But what we do know is that fits in very much with our league form over the last 10 games. And believe it or not, our league form, since we lost to Chelsea in November 2023, which was his first defeat, has been, yep, you guessed it, 14th. So Tottenham Hotspur, in the last 18 months, are 14th in the form table. We're 14th in the league table now. And then if we look here, this is the form table over the last 10 games in the Premier League. We are 14th in the form table as well. So a lot going on with 14, which really upsets me because that's my favourite player, Janola's number, the number 14. So a lot of the number 14 coming around, but it goes to show that whatever metric you look at, Tottenham are not playing well. 14th in the form table, 14th in the Premier League table. Okay, and 14th for the last 18 months of Premier League football, which is an utterly disgusting fact for me to bring up. But now let's look at Frankfurt, shall we? Frankfurt, you can see there, they are third in the Bundesliga, 48 points. A team that scores a lot of goals. You can see, like us, they score a lot of goals. They're the third highest scorers in the Bundesliga, behind Bayern Munich and behind Bayer Leverkusen. They also, I wouldn't say their defense is as bad as ours, but they do concede quite a lot. You'll see there that there's teams below them, like Mainz, like Leipzig, like Mönchengladbach, that have got better defenses. But Frankfurt have had a downturn lately, which is why I think we will beat them in this game on Thursday night. Then if we move to Frankfurt's form over the last 10 games, well, you can see there they're 11th, but only on 12 points. So 1 point less than Spurs in the same period of time. So why am I showing you all of this information? For me, I think it goes to show that you've got two teams that are not in any sort of form. Frankfurt have won 2 of their last 5 Bundesliga games. 2 of their last 6, Tottenham Hotspur have also won 2 of their last 6 Premier League games. So for me, there's not a lot to pick between these two teams, apart from a few things, okay? Form over the last 10 games, mirroring each other, for sure. But here's the difference. Frankfurt have a manager in Dino Topmöller, who is able to float between a back 4 and a back 3 at any given time. So there are games I've watched this season of Frankfurt where he's gone with a back 3, games I've watched where he's gone with a back 4, and he is very happy, very versatile. And what he will do is he will float between the tactics depending on the opposition. Now, on the contrary, we have a manager that doesn't have that ability. He does not have that in his locker. He doesn't know how to move away from his 4 at the back with inverted fullbacks and midfielders just playing wherever they like on the pitch. Inverted fullbacks basically in the centre mid positions. I'll show you exactly what I mean. This should sum it up nicely. You look at Jed Spence in the centre circle there. This is what Tottenham Hotspur do. We'll have another look here. This is what Tottenham do. We'll see there. Look at our players. I mean, this is how we're set up under this manager. Let's have another look at another example there. No fullbacks to be seen in the fullback areas. Instead, they're all tracking back through the middle of the park. Now, I think we get away with this against Frankfurt on Thursday night. I do think we will get away with this no matter how bad the tactics. I think the players will raise their game for the home leg. I think the fans will be in fine voice for the home leg. And I do think that we will be able to take a lead to Germany. I do think we'll be able to take a lead to Germany. But how big is that lead going to need to be? Because as I've said, I think we will crumble away. People will call me negative, but all the evidence suggests it. We went to Aston Villa in the FA Cup. We crumbled. We were dreadful. We went to Liverpool in the League Cup semi-final away from home. We crumbled. Absolutely dreadful. This is what Tottenham do. First half of games, we're normally okay. Second halves, we crumble. Same with first leg and second leg. So for me, I think Tottenham Hotspur need to go with a 2-goal lead. I think if we go there with a draw or a 1-goal lead, I do think we will crumble. And I do think that Frankfurt will knock us out. However, grab the 2-goal lead, and there's nothing saying that we can't lose by only 1 goal. Maybe grab a draw in Frankfurt. I think the 2-goal lead is absolutely essential. Now, Frankfurt, for me, play some nice stuff. They do play some good football. What they like to do is they like to overload. They've got a lot of young, quick, tricky, skillful players. The likes of Wahi, the likes of Larsson, the likes of Ekatike. I always get his name wrong. And they will get in behind. We know that Tottenham will allow them in behind. This isn't Nostradamus. This isn't revisionism. Every game we say this. We can't defend in the fullback areas. We will leave those gaps. So for me, we've got to be careful that we don't let players like Ekatike and Larsson get in behind us. Larsson, a player that likes to get on the ball, pull the strings. Ekatike, a player that likes to run in behind. And what we do know is that we will allow players to run in behind us. We saw it against Chelsea. Even with Van der Ven and Romero back, we let players run in behind us, and we just hope that Mickey Van der Ven's pace will get us out of trouble. So for me, a fascinating matchup. I don't think this is two of Europe's elite. I do think that the Europa League is very weak this year. I think it's very poor. It's been watered down from the fact that the Champions League teams do not drop out anymore. However, I do believe that that's the only reason why Spurs have an opportunity to win it. Do I think they will? I've said no. Happily sit here at the end of May and say, I was wrong, we won the Europa League. I don't think we will. I think there are bigger and harder tests to come, starting with Frankfurt on Thursday night and then Thursday week. Then the likes of Lazio, possibly. Then the likes of Bilbao, possibly. So we'll see. If Spurs win the Europa League, fair play. Yeah, I think it's the best opportunity for us to do it, as I said, without the Champions League teams coming down. But I think it's really poor. If we get knocked out to Frankfurt, we'll look back at this European competition and say the best team that we managed to beat is either Ferencvaros or AZ Alkmaar. So isn't it funny when we're talking about good cup runs? It's only a good cup run if we manage to beat anyone decent and get further. If we don't, we'll look back and say, what a poor Europa League campaign it's been. It's on a knife edge, people. Thursday night's going to tell us a lot. Is Mickey van der Ven going to be fit? For me, when he played the other night, I thought he looked dreadfully unfit. I thought that he looked laboured. He was lumbering about. And I'm not knocking him. He's just come back from injury. I personally think this injury is worse than they're letting on. I don't think he's ready to come back. Unfortunately, our manager has implemented a system that revolves solely on Mickey van der Ven's pace, getting us out of trouble. Who's going to play at the fullback areas? Spence going to be right back or Porro? Is it going to be a Dogie at left back or Spence? Who's going to play in midfield? You'd probably say Bentancur, Bergvall, Maddison. And then up front, does he change from Son, Solanke and Johnson? And what I would say is if that is the front three, I need to see Son and Solanke come to the party. I've been thoroughly disappointed this season with both, especially Solanke. Need them in this big game in a quarterfinal of a cup. Need them to turn up because so far Solanke looks about as dangerous as a 5-year-old in front of goal. He's got to start stepping up. And Son, he's the captain. He's going to play, but he's got to up his game in big games like this. So let me know what you think. As I've said, to reiterate, I think we win Thursday night. I think next Thursday night, Frankfurt win. And it's going to be whoever can get the most goals at their home ground. Let me know what you think. Who's going to win on Thursday? Who's going to win the tie overall? What's the 11 going to be? Guys, girls, I'll be back tonight at 6:45 for 1 hour. Then I'll be on Big Up at 7:45 for a watch-along of Arsenal versus Real Madrid. Should be a cracking game. Much love. Take care. And as always, come on, you Spurs.